In abbey shores where shadows play, the alley whispers night and day. In abomination, alley's grip, where fear and danger tightly knit. Oh, the alley breathes a tale untold of secrets dark and hearts grown cold. Abbey streets, they'll pull you in to the depths where sin begins.
Hello and welcome to Dire Bear. It's Tuesday night, so of course that means we're playing Abomination Alley, or BRP actual play. I'll be your GM for the evening, Jason, and with me as usual will be Sarah playing Vivian,
Hello.
Patrick playing Leo,
Greetings.
Rappy playing Charlie O'Brien.
Hello.
I don't know why you got your last name and everybody else just got their first. I'm not sure.
'Cause
Duba.
some people have really long last names.
Fair. Duba playing George Stone.
Hello.
Jeremy playing Salvador.
Awoo, baby.
Eric playing Michael.
That's it.
And Carr playing Teak.
Oh, wow.
Now, who remembers what we were doing last time?
It was mostly just downtime.
Yeah,
Well,
pretty much downtime shenanigans.
Exclusively down. It was almost exclusively downtime until Salvador received a call towards the end. After what was it? A couple of months? Or
y'all
full
had a
month.
month. Y'all had a month.
Yeah,
A
it was
full
1
month.
month.
Duba still
Four-
needs to do his downtime.
4 weeks, I think.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he does.
4
Yeah.
weeks.
So it was a full downtime, with the exception of Mr. Stone, and Salvador received a call that there had been an incident with the dock workers who were on strike. If I
We're
remember.
trying to strike. I can't remember if they were fully on strike yet.
Things are tensing up, and they're expecting a strike. There have been some scuffles
Yeah.
between the
Scabs and not scabs.
well, the scabs, the people working for the company.
Mm.
I mean the like management of the company, I should say. I believe you were called by Clifford Scott.
Mhm.
And yeah, they found a body. Does anyone remember if they told you anything about the body?
They did not. Just there was bodies in the harbor.
Very
Or a body.
I think there was bodies. I think it was multiple.
No, I think it was just the one. I mean, there's more to come. Spoilers, but
No.
at the moment,
Okay.
at the moment, I
Yay!
think it was just the one.
You just see Teak floating in the lake.
Face
Let's
down.
not. Let's not.
No, he wouldn't float. He'd have cement shoes.
Oh no,
Let's
face
not.
up. All of him's underwater, and just his snoot pokes above, so everybody assumes he's dead.
Snorkeling.
That's when you find out he's got like a straw, so it's just that up above the water, so he can still breathe.
Are you
What, I'm
gonna
just taking
help
a
me
dip.
or not?
No!
It's a tactical kobold. It's fine.
Then he just changes his clothes, comes back as Keat. Y'all don't realize it because all kobolds look the same. Too.
Oh, jeez. I just thought of tactical kobold. We just like unleash Teak, like wind him up, let him loose.
I shoot out of an artillery cannon.
That's why he
Wait a
was
minute.
wanting to learn
Wait a minute,
rifles.
didn't you have a kobold? Yeah.
Jeez.
So yes, we
So
wrapped
this
up
is
last
how-
session with y'all headed towards the dock. So
We're
that
not there
includes the
yet.
wrap up and our bit of April 1st fun.
But this would be
guys
nice
aren't-
to do this
you
the
guys
entire
can't
time.
move. You guys can't move your arms, so I don't know when you're gesticulating.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
I
an
feel that.
annoyance.
That's fine.
It is not fun.
Too late. My horns are off.
Fine.
I had to bite my tongue for a second.
Yeah. Huh.
The costume horns are off.
Da, da, da,
The other
da,
ones
da.
may be there. don't know.
There's little nubs right here that no one can see.
Exactly.
Aha. Also,
There we
since you couldn't see it, there. All is right with the world.
Excellent.
We're
All
back.
is right.
Somewhat back.
Gesticulation.
All right. So, Duba, have you given any thought to the downtime, what George would have done in this month of downtime y'all have had? You know, skills you want to train, things you just want to do, you know. And if you haven't, we can handle that, you know, via Discord, off camera, you know, later if you want to. But if you've got, you know, some ideal now.
Unfortunately, no, I don't, but we can easily do that off camera or through Discord.
Absolutely.
That way we can keep this session a little streamlined for the night.
I appreciate a man after the production values of the show.
Yes, yes.
We have production values.
You were
Look,
just
I may not be around often.
You were dressed up as a raccoon just a second ago.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean,
Ah.
we obviously don't have production values. I'm here.
Anyway,
You know, been
Sir, I
dead
think
kicked.
you have
No
that
comment.
mistaken. Y'all allow me to continue to show up occasionally.
Yep.
All right.
We keep trying to get kicked out, and Jason just keeps inviting us back.
All right, so y'all are heading down to the dock.
Mhm.
Well, Salvador's heading down to the dock. Did you call any of us?
Salvador is not heading to the docks by himself. Are you crazy? Salvador is gonna call the diner and be like, "Hey, if you see any of the others, bring them on up, or ask them to come on up."
We're
Just in
not
case.
attached to the diner. I don't
We're
think.
not. Thought we were.
No.
I thought we were like.
No, the diner is at the bottom floor. The office is the.
On the
Second
third floor.
floor?
Second or
Third floor.
third. Second or third, I forget.
I guess my
We're
friends here.
above them, but to get to the office, it's
You walk
You
down,
don't
come out
go-
one
you
corner,
don't
then
go-
walk across the building to the other.
yeah. You don't go through the diner to get to the office.
And everyone's numbers is probably in the Rolodex, or we all
Oh,
exchange
fair.
numbers.
Okay,
But I
then
want to say
will
there
leave
were
that-
at least 3 of you in the office, because Vivian was
No.
going to answer the phone, and
I-
Salvador snatched it away from her. Because we made the
No,
joke about
I
not
was-
being not letting her be the
No,
secretary.
no.
She hadn't gone to the office at that
Yeah,
point.
I think you just
Yeah.
asked who would be there to answer, and I was like, "Oh, Salvador will do."
Oh,
it."
okay, maybe so. Maybe
Yeah, I think Salvador was the only one there, if I
Yeah.
recall.
So. All right, then Salvador, how you get in touch with everybody?
I think I just call
Strong
Michael
signals.
at Michael's office, who probably isn't there.
No, he's not
Is
at
he
his
still on
office.
probation?
He's still on probation.
I don't-
But that's good.
No,
That's
no,
fine.
that got we wrapped that up in the downtime.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Well,
Understood.
I don't know, probation maybe. He's not on that forced leave anymore.
He's on thin ice.
they're watching him close, and yeah, you know,
Yeah. Okay, then
they want to avoid future screw ups.
I will call Michael at his office then. Just his first instinct.
Now his personal office that you met him at, or like the DA's office where he's got a desk.
I'll try one and the other.
Okay. Michael, where are you actually?
what time of day is this?
This is like 11. This is well, no, it'd be earlier than that. This is up in the morning.
Okay, yeah, he probably.
Not super early. It's like
Unless
after
he
breakfast.
specifically had like cases to work at the DA's office, he would probably be at his office actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll call the DA's office, and then if that doesn't work, I'll just call his personal office.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So yeah, you call. Dorothy answers the phone.
Yep. Michael in?
Oh, hello, Mr. Salvador. Wait, would she call you Mr.
Hi.
Salvador? Or after a month of
Either
kind
way.
of being the team secretary as well, would she be used to just calling you Salvador?
However familiar she wants to be.
In that case, she'll at least on the phone when she's acting in a professional capacity.
Okay.
It's-
And
she doesn't know
goes,
your last
is
name.
Michael in?
Oh yes, I'll direct your call right back there.
Okay, thank you.
Michael, you get a little buzz from Dorothy. Salvador's on the phone.
Yes. All right, I'll take it.
Hangs up on him.
Click. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Click.
So, bye. Click.
Not buying
no.
it. Click.
Don't want any.
Um,
Hello, Michael speaking.
This is Salvador. We've got something. Should probably round everybody up and head on up to the office so I can brief us.
Okay. What is it you found?
It's about the unrest at the docks. It's probably as much as I want to say over the phone.
You know, depending on what it is that you did find, I'm probably gonna have to at least inform the police that it was brought to our attention. Correct?
Okay, but that is a conversation we can have when you guys are all here.
Very well. As a show of camaraderie, I suppose, would you want some coffee?
If you were able to get tea, I would appreciate that.
I do have some, actually.
It's the he's pointing to his ear, but you can't see him.
I'm aware, but I'm more of a toffee guy. Although I do keep teas for guests.
Respect. I'll see you in a bit then.
Very well.
And does Salvador know if anybody else has a line besides Michael? I don't think anybody else does.
You would know which hospital Charlie worked at.
Mhm.
You would know what garage Teak works at. I don't know if I don't know that either one of them would have a personal phone.
Okay, I can call. Calling people's works. That's still scummy, even in the 20s.
I know George was looking for a place to stay in town. You know, when he was in town. So
Teak would probably show up after his work day was done anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll say you've got a number for George.
Okay.
You know, you're calling the front desk, but you know he tipped the kids if the kid will, you know, come get him for phone calls. If that's okay, George.
Oh, yes, sir. That's fine.
Okay.
Call Mr. Stone. Start gathering the band. I hear a 2-year-old. I hear like a 4-year-old on the phone. I'm like, okay.
Leo, of course, has his own little shop / not doctor's office.
Yeah.
Not doctor's office. Yeah.
Non-doctor, legally distinct from a doctor's office.
Legally distinct from a doctor. It's holistic.
Herbal remedies.
Isn't that a full surgery you have in that back room?
I will call.
It's the-
I will call up Doc as well.
All right.
All right.
I'm on way down.
How do y'all get in touch with Vivian?
I trust that Michael's going to get in touch with Vivian.
Jokes on all of you. She's just out somewhere.
He'll
after that visit with her parents, she
just walked into the lake.
Just walked into the lake and never came back. Shame.
She became the sea monster.
I am the lady in the lake distributing swords.
That is not a system for governance.
Might be a good one though.
help! I'm being oppressed.
Anyway, I'll call up the people whose numbers I have are close enough, and I trust Michael to get Vivian. So no, I don't worry about that one.
And we can do Vivian, and you know, like Sarah suggested, we can do Vivian like George. You know, she's just arranged with whoever's in the front desk. Hey, you know, if you come get me for a phone call, you know, there's a tip in it for you, kind of thing.
There's it's a nice enough building.
but eventually we're all gathered. Salvador's not going to angry dock workers.
And now that we've
his
established how
his
y'all get
rifle
for
and
each
five.
other, we shall simply refer to that as the call goes out for around safe time.
Yep. The call goes
Cue the
out.
montage.
Cue the montage.
It's just Salvador on the phone for like 20 minutes calling different
Cue the
people.
bat signal.
The beorn signal.
The beorn signal.
Yep, the beorn signal.
Ha 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 ha.
Whoa.
Yep. And then we're all gathered? Question mark?
All right, so y'all make it to the office.
Yep.
So, there's been trouble at the docks. It's been brewing for a while. I'm sure you all are aware that there's a strike very imminent.
Mm-hmm.
And
A thermos of tea just sort of.
Oh, thank you. And it's only a matter of time before violence, all-out violence, and people, more people start dying. As I recall, there is a body.
A body.
Jason? A body so far.
He just
So
uncaps his own thermos,
The-
swig of coffee. All right, I need the phone.
I've been making calls all day. You are more than welcome to go for it.
I did make a promise, so I need to uphold that.
Sure.
Three guesses who he's calling.
9-1 and then 1 again when I tell you to.
Yep.
Well, it's the 20s. I don't think 911 was around, but
Yeah.
you actually had to know the police department's number. Well, or you kind of had the operator most of the time.
Yeah.
1968,
I will say
you're correct.
I will say, when Teak arrived, you guys almost didn't recognize him because he's not in his mechanic outfit. And he's not wearing his normal hat. He looks more like a newsboy.
You look quite dapper.
Well, change of pace.
Michael he points to the third thermos. He's like, coffee's on the table.
He goes over and pours himself a cup of coffee.
Where does he keep getting all these thermoses?
I did check. They did exist in this time frame. So
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Thermoses have actually
Yeah.
predate this for a while.
Why does he have a dozen?
he's got a
This-
lot.
Like a bandolier of
Mike-
thermoses.
Michael is the reason the cost of metal was so high.
And that's when you go into his house and you open up one of his cabinets.
It's just all
and it's
Stanleys.
all thermoses. It's all thermoses, and then there's like one set of nice china.
See,
It's just-
you joke, but when I decided he was going to have a thermos, I rolled a d10. It came up as a 7.
10. Oh God.
Got
So
one for every day of the week.
yes, he does.
They're all the same color, same make, same model.
That way he doesn't have to wash them till Saturday. He just washes them all at once.
Yeah, he is calling the Windburn office again.
Desk sergeant
He's
answers the
probably
phone.
regular at this point.
At this point, we just need a direct line.
Yeah. Hello, this is Michael Anderson.
Uh-oh. Hello, Mr. Anderson. Who you need to talk? Do you need to talk to the chief, or just will any of us do this time?
Well, our office got a call about a body in the harbor, and they wanted someone to look into it.
Oh, crap.
As per the promise I made to the captain, I am informing you as to the situation.
All right. Do you know where the body, I mean, the docks covers a large territory. Do you know precisely where?
1 moment. Hey, Salvador, did they say where exactly?
I'll rattle off the location.
Yeah. Well, they said where they wanted you to meet them at. Mr.
Yeah.
Clifford Scott.
Yep. Not yet. Salvador will say not yet.
We don't have an exact location yet. They just asked us to meet them for the other dark workers for a meeting to to discuss it, I suppose. I guess we seem to be a more public face. I'm not sure.
Well, a lot of strange folks work at the dock. And you hear him kind of, hey, has the captain gotten here yet? Okay. All right, the captain's not quite here yet. The pause as he probably looks at his watch or over the clock. He should be here any minute. I'll let him know. We've already got plenty of people in that area because the workers kerfluffle thing going on. So I guess when you know where the body is, contact us again, and we'll get some uniforms over there.
I can do that.
Let's see, is there anything else?
We need to be leaving here shortly, so if that's all.
Yes, like I said, I'll let the captain know when he gets here.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
Sips coffee.
Onward. This tea's pretty good for, it's pretty good.
I got it from England.
Nice. That's not too far off from where I'm from.
Figured you'd like it.
So if he got it from
Just imagine he has something like this size.
Well, it wasn't actually made in England. England just imported it all.
Well,
Yeah.
That's where he got it from, so.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
All right, so y'all load up in a couple of cars and head down. Of course, during the town time, Teak got the Teak mobile, or the Model Teak. He got that back end all fixed up.
What I should have done, I should have seen if I could find an electric start for it. Oh, well.
Next
break.
Yep.
That reminds me. After game, I need to ask you a question. Jason.
Okay. I couldn't tell who you were pointing at, but okay.
Yeah. You're immediately to my left on Zoom, at least for me. So.
Off to the docks. Finding a nice little parking spot.
You pull up. This area, the address took you. There's a small building. You figure that must be where they're wanting to meet you at, since that's the nearest building to where they said. But you pull up, you see the window. Door opens.
Salvador has his duffel bag just in case.
I need to have a monster waiting in the wings to show up the first time Salvador forgets to carry his bag with him. It's the quantum spook. So a couple guys walk out. Guy gives away, walks right up to, once your car stops moving, he kind of steps over. So as soon as you open the door, he's like, "Mr. Salvador. Thank you for coming. I'm Clifford. We spoke on the phone."
Yes. Nice to meet you. Go to shake the hand.
He gestures the other fellow with him. This is Lawrence. Lawrence Smith. Lawrence steps forward.
Lawrence Smith? Mr. Smith?
He steps forward, shakes it. Just call me Larry.
Larry it is.
But if you come with us, the body's over here.
Oh, okay.
And he does take a moment to, it's like he catches, and he introduces himself to everybody.
Hello.
Yeah.
Look, beorn.
He seems to know who you all are, other than Charlie and George. Because they weren't specifically mentioned by name like those original reports from the first incident.
Yep. And Salvador will go on and introduce, Michael, Vivian, Doc, Charlie, Teak, George.
Thank you all for coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then they walk across this section of dock. And kind of, there's
Shift that.
other buildings closer to the water, and they kind of go behind one of those, or, between the water and them, where you couldn't see from the road pulling in. And there's what's clearly a body that somebody's put a blanket over, or a sheet or something.
Is there a specific reason? Does it look like it's been like moved to be obscured from the road?
It would be, I mean, I suppose if you were going to murder somebody, catching them behind a building or dragging them over to a building before you did it would work. But there's also the body's clearly wet. It's soaked. The sheet is soaked through.
Sure.
So it looks like they probably pulled him out of the water.
So they've pulled him out of the water to look at it, and then they put him back in the water.
No, they pulled him out of the water. He's still wet. They've got him sitting behind a building.
Oh,
just a little ways from the water. It's like they put him
understood.
And when they laid him down, they picked somewhere that you couldn't see from the road.
Understood. And then Salvador will look at this and go, "Is there a particular reason you all moved this person from where
we didn't want to risk it floating away."
Fair enough. I am simply asking questions, making sure we're, if an officer comes by and whatever. And I'll pull back the sheet.
Oh, and just for clarity, Clifford is human, and Larry is a dwarf.
Okay.
Probably won't be important. But yeah.
Might be. So Salvador will pull back the sheet and
guy sitting there wide-eyed.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that blue, kind of bluish of a drowning victim.
Sure.
I think anything post-mortem would be your specialty there, Leo.
All right.
Do y'all have
I'll take a look at him.
Yeah, then Michael turned to the two doctors like, "Can I use the phone in your office? If you have one."
Oh, sure.
I did, I am, by oath, supposed to report this to the police.
They give an uneasy look at each other. But of course, and Larry walks you back to the office. Yeah, show you where the phone is.
And while the medical stuff is happening, I'll just sort of hand wave Michael, pause, and tells him where they find the body.
Yeah, and by that time the captain's gotten there. He speaks to you briefly. You update him. He sends some people down.
Yeah.
And since forensics wasn't really a science yet, so what would I be using in this one? Would I be using the first aid, or would I actually be using medical in this instance?
I'd go with the full medical. Now, Charlie, you're also a doctor.
Yes, I am.
Let me see if there's a rule for assisting
There's
each other.
There's a medicine.
Yeah, there is a medicine. Medicine is one they actually use for what would count for actual surgery or long-term care. First aid is rapid. And I rolled a 9 on that, so.
What is that for you?
Where's that chart? Skill result table, is that? Yeah. Let's zoom in on it. What?
Right now, I'm
this is why you use the dice roller. The dice roller is your friend.
That's what I love you.
No, it isn't. That would be special.
Okay.
Oh, cool. Am I allowed to just use a mundane spot to just look for abnormalities?
Yeah, you can both give me spot rolls.
I'll take a look around myself.
Charlie, if you want to, you can give a medical roll or a spot roll.
Hey, I got a success.
Just so I can get some rolling done.
I guess I'll give a medicine roll. Why not?
Mhm.
Oh,
Hey,
succeeded.
look at you.
Is that a
I will
good
say-
thing, right? Just click.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So I will say, Jason.
Mhm.
First, I'm gonna try to activate aura detection,
Okay.
and then pass or fail on that. I'm still gonna roll insight to try to get the kind of vibe of the dock workers because I saw their about the officer thing.
That's fair.
Failure on aura detection.
I know
it's
there's some kind of
fine.
rules for assisting each other when y'all are using the same kind of roles, but we'll find it later.
Where's the skill? There's the skill. Dang.
Oof.
Okay.
Off
Well-
your game today.
I am. Yeah.
There we go.
Is what is.
In order, Leo got special on medicine. Salvador got
Yes.
special on spot. So, and then everyone has succeeded except for Michael, who's in the other room.
All right, so Leo got a special.
Does not successfully vibe check them.
Nope.
That was on a med. Who else got a special, you said?
I
Salvador.
did.
Okay.
I got it on spot.
And Sal got a spot special. All right.
And then everyone else succeeded.
George, did you want to roll?
Yeah, Michael didn't get anything. Yeah, Michael failed. So as far as your read on the dock workers, they're nervous about the police, but I mean they are sitting on a body, so that's
Makes sense.
could be anything, could be nothing.
Yeah.
All right, see, so everybody that just scored a regular success, so Charlie, at a glance, obviously this guy drowned. You know, you're not, you don't see any what looks like bullet wounds or cuts.
Mhm.
He's not particularly bloated yet, so he probably hasn't been dead all that long.
Well.
I mean, sometime through the night, maybe.
So,
Though why he'd be out here in the docks at night, who knows? Let's see. Carr and Vivian with your
so he
spot.
definitely drowned.
Did we get something from George? Did George do anything?
I don't think he rolled. No.
Okay.
I apologize. What do I need to roll for you?
Spot.
Yeah, spot.
Unless you're medically trained for some reason. No. Worth a shot.
Yeah.
It's all the shots you don't take.
All right. So Carr and Vivian. Crap! I just had something in mind for what y'all were going to notice, and then I realized George isn't on here. So you see the bluishness to the face, and the expression on his face. He looks scared. Even after this time, it still looks kind of scared. And you notice there is a bruise on one of his arms.
So
Now getting over to our two specials.
Yeah. Okay.
Y'all spot basically everything I've said about the body so far. Clearly he drowned. There's a bruise on his arm. Both of you spot the spot bruising kind of on his shoulders and neck. Y'all notice just enough of it that further investigation you pull back. And it's basically right at the base of his neck and kind of around. And then one arm. You get the impression something rather large was probably holding him under the water.
Oh. That's terrifying. Are we getting the impression these bruises are like fingers?
Yeah, you're not making out individual fingers, but if somebody would just,
But like if someone cupped it like that, someone cupped.
Yeah, if somebody
like
did that, it wouldn't leave the individual like finger bruises kind of thing necessarily.
Sure. That's terrifying. I just kind of look at Leo. You seeing what I'm seeing?
Yes. And I'm also trying to figure out how big would that, like, whose hand would be big enough to do that?
Try to map it out. If I try to map it out, like I'm obviously not drawing on a corpse. But if I'm just like mentally mapping out the hand from what I've seen.
Let's see, you got a special, so I got a little bit more detail for you.
Yeah.
As you start looking at that, you're like, okay, his shoulders are yay wide. So you're talking about a hand that if you did that would be the
yeah.
But as you're doing that, you notice where if somebody like grabbed and if somebody like grabbed you by the throat and squeezed, the bruising on one side where your thumb is wouldn't be the same as the bruising. But this looks fairly uniform.
Like this?
Like a garrote?
Be an awful wide garrote, and it's some of the bruising is on like the back under the the neck.
Is this like maybe instead of one hand, it's like two massive hands?
Possibly, which does make the overall size of somebody doing this a little bit smaller. Still be a big dude.
Salvador and Doc and be like, was the troll's hand this big?
I mean, they were, but he's gone.
The troll's hand would probably have been bigger than this. And you still had that differential from the thumb side to the finger side.
Okay.
The troll also had claws.
That's true. And even not trying to claw people, if he grabbed you hard, they'd probably
going to get passive lacerations. Yeah.
She never saw him, so.
Yeah. So Salvador will bring that up. The troll had claws, so there would have been lacerations.
Okay.
But she also said it's oddly even, like where it's obvious pressure was applied, but it's almost smooth.
Yeah, it's kind of a band. I mean, it's bruising, so it's not like pencil drawn smooth or anything, but it's roughly the same width all the way across.
This might be an occult roll or something similar, because it's too smooth for a rope, because that would be obvious, and it's obvious when holding it down. Is there anything... Well, I'm going to roll occult first to see.
Okay.
Before I ask the question. Ooh. 11 would have been a great roll in our Saturday game.
Ha!
But... Yeah, doubles are crits in that.
Yep.
Still, an 11's pretty good roll.
Yeah, it's still a special, though.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus, buddy.
So you're trying to think of creatures that could have done this.
Yeah, and because the reason why I brought that up, because it's so even, is there anything, like, tentacled or snake-like?
Let's see. Sea serpents are a thing. As far as snake-like. In old legends of... And sea serpents being creatures, being the sort of creature that showed up with some of the strange folk we now showed up.
Who's now there are actually dragons there.
Terrifying.
Indeed. But they're big. They're not really big enough to bother modern shipping much.
Yeah.
And they're definitely on the endangered list these days. If there was an endangered list in the 20s.
Yeah. Megafauna tends not to survive humanity.
Yeah, well, they're tasty. Yeah. But something like that. In legends of like chaos creatures, there's of course the dreaded octopus.
its thing.
And that's something you've never heard of actually ever actually appearing, because none of the chaos, until y'all ran into the brew, you've never been aware of any of the chaos creatures actually being on Earth. It's just folklore of this man-shaped thing with an octopus for a head. You're not sure what size it would be, and if it really was like an octopus, there should be the little sucker marks.
Yeah.
Let's see, what other water stuff do you know about? Mermaids, but that's not really tentacle related.
No, but they can hold you underwater.
Fair,
Probably don't
fair.
have baseball sized mitts, though.
They'd have to do it kangaroo style.
So mapping it down and like adding a second hand into the mix, it feels like it would be like still a large person, but not like one hand giant situation.
Yeah.
Right.
This would be
Which means there might be two people involved, and somebody was definitely gripping that arm tight too.
Yeah.
Does the arm bruise feel like a separate thing on its own?
It's a little narrower than what's around the neck.
Okay. This could be multiple people. This could be one large person. It could be a gigantic person. A lot of questions.
Many
Let's
questions.
be careful not to touch. There's no. So to be clear, there is no murder implement. It is this person most likely drowned.
Yeah.
Drowned.
They were held underwater and then drowned. Yeah.
You're for sure they drowned. They were not stabbed. They were not shot. They were not bludgeoned.
Okay.
All the bruising indicates probably held down.
Okay.
Even the terrified look on their face, probably means they went out. Struggling.
Shock. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's a lot of pressure. I don't want to mess with the body, especially since I know Michael's calling the cops right this second. But
Yeah.
I want to feel around where the bruising is. Is there like broken bones? Trying to gauge the relative strength of this creature or entity.
Let's see what shoulder clavicle bones.
Just the clavicle's right here, and then I'm also checking the arm.
The arm is definitely not broken, and best you can tell, there's no actual broken bones under there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just checking like here to make sure, like all along where the pressure is, to see if there's any breaks in the bones, and then over here in the arm.
Yeah.
Salvador doesn't know much, but he knows, to check the relative strength of entities, especially when strange folk are involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a little bit later, y'all hear sirens. It doesn't take the police very long to get here. Michael, the Death Sergeant said they already had people kind of... The docks are heavily patrolled at the moment because of the unrest.
Yeah.
And then I'll look at Leah and go, all right. Oh, sheet back over. And as we start hearing sirens.
So the police arrive, they get out. You don't know his name off the top of your head, Michael, but you see an officer that you recognize. He walks up to you. Mr. Anderson?
Officer.
Thank you for calling. Can you, show us the bodies and who found it? Or the body and who found him?
Sure. And he'll lead them over to the body. And introduce the gentleman who found him to them. Officers.
So yeah, they take Clifford and Larry to the side and they start talking. And from what you hear, it sounds like somebody else found it and notified Clifford. And after some heeing and hawing about it, he finally gives the guy, the couple of guys' names.
Okay. I want to see if I can listen in. I was 2 points short.
Hey!
He wasn't.
Teak, are you listening in?
Yep.
Okay.
Womp.
So you're listening in on Clifford. Larry's a little bit further back, so Clifford's the one you can actually hear. But yeah, it's clear he doesn't really want to give names to the police, but eventually the policeman kind of wiggles it out of him. And he rattles off, you know, a couple of dock workers. The policeman asks him, well, they're not on strike yet, so you don't have scabs yet. You know, ask them if they're part of the Longshoremen's Association. He says that they are, you know, so it's him and Clifford, or him and Larry. And basically, you know, they were walking to work, saw the body, fished it out. You know, he shows them where, you know, he says it was right close by the office, so they came to see if any of us were there for the phone. They you know, and he relays, you know, calling you guys. The officer doesn't really question him on that point on why he called y'all first. Yeah, and the officer interviewing him's an elf, or the one interviewing Larry's human. But like that, other than putting pressure on him for the names, the conversation seems to be pretty smooth. The officers are not being overly aggressive.
Okay.
You know, and you have a you know, plainclothes detective show up a little bit later. You know, the one that will be in charge of the actual investigation. They get a brief statement from all of you, just basically, you know, okay, you got the call, you showed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, y'all did a quick look at the body, and, you know, then y'all call the police in. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you do see several police officer and detective, you know, go down to where, the detective sends some guys off to get a statement from the workers. Clifford carries them down and shows them where in the dock, you know, where they found the bodies, or where they found the body. Oh, and you'd have heard him ask if they, you know, if they know who the deceased is. Apparently, he is
Any of them answered?
Pardon?
I was just asking if anybody answered.
Yes, they do. They tell you he is Ricky Gray.
Ricky Gray.
He's like a shift manager kind of guy for the Flynn Shipping Co. That gets a reaction out of the officer. Any of you that have read up on the oh no, I'm sorry, it's only Tiki in this.
No.
Does Tiki read the newspaper regularly?
Somewhat.
All right, give me an idea. Roll.
Sure. I've gotta find it. Normal.
Yeah, just normal is fine.
Hey. Very nice.
Yeah, it's the Flynn Shipping Co. and the Longshoremen's Association that are currently butting heads. And, you know, so this manager's body was found basically a stone's throw from the Longshoremen's, their kind of little on-site office.
What was the name? Was it Ricky? What was the last name? I didn't.
Gray, like the color.
Ricky Gray.
Yep.
I realized I had forgotten to name the victim. So I decided, I'll just grab, a random first name and a random last name from managers I've had throughout the years.
This is the
That-
way.
Yeah.
Well, the weird thing is, so we've had several Rickies at work. And we had the guy that was managing when I started at the company was Gray. But his first name was Ricky. So I was grabbing like my current manager's first name, my first manager's last name, and it turns out to be the same name as it's just the first manager's name.
When I worked in the movie theater, there were 8 mics working there, which is why to this day I call my buddy Finley.
But anyway, read nothing into the fact that he was a murder victim. I have no ill feelings towards that manager.
Okay.
Only a seething. Never mind.
Not like the one I put in Esper Genesis that Taylor decapitated. He was kind of a creep. Anyway. Tangent aside.
Rarity of attention.
So yeah, the more people show up, they cart the body off.
I think I let the police do their thing, and I'll just I'll sit and chew the fat with Leo until the cops are all gone, and kind of call the dock workers and everyone together when they've all left.
The police are going to be here a while.
That's fine.
And there's a crowd of other dock workers and stuff kind of showing up to see what's going on. Who were unaware anything was going on. They saw all the police.
Yeah, sure. However long it takes.
Before the police do finally leave, Michael, the detective, walks up to you. Detective Cole.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I know that name.
You do know that name. The Rolodex.
Nope, never mind, I don't.
Okay. I was thinking, I just pulled Cole out of the air. Have I used Cole already? I'll wait and see what Eric says.
No, the other one is Detective Myers.
Okay.
That was the one that went with us to the deal with the brew.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is now on the DL.
So Detective Cole approaches you. Captain wanted me to thank you for keeping us informed. I guess they called you guys because with the that unrest and possible strike coming up, they're looking at the police probably being more on the company side than the worker side. I told the men to have as light a touch as they can when dealing with the people. We don't want to aggravate anything.
For the best.
Though that probably can't be helped overall. A manager from the company died within spitting distance of a union building. That's going to be people are going to find that awfully suspicious.
How convenient.
Yeah, I find it suspicious. If you're going to whack a guy, you're not going to. I don't think they'd be dumb enough to just dump him out the back door. Of course, we don't know if that's where he died or if he's drifted here. Though, just drifting here, that'd be quite a coincidence.
It would.
But, he's like, here's my number at the office. You can call me directly.
Of course.
So we don't have to keep relaying to the captain.
Yeah.
Keep an ear out. People will probably talk to your group a little more freely than they would the police.
Okay.
And all told, the police are there an hour or two.
Mm.
And when they leave, more dock workers kind of flood up and are quizzing Clifford and Larry on what went on. Some of them were visibly surprised when they hear that it was Gray that died. Some don't seem terribly upset about it. Well, some are like, clearly expressed that they did not like the guy. Would not have wished something like that on him.
Mm.
I'll kind of call everybody who called us here and us together.
Mhm.
Kind of share mine and Leo's findings.
Okay.
And we'll mention that the police are woefully unprepared for whatever this is.
Tico mentioned, well, Tico wait until the dock workers aren't around them to mention what he overheard them talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but Salvador is talking to him
about just the findings that me and Leo found.
Okay,
yeah, probably
that's with the guys you said, and the two that called you.
And the two that called us, yes.
Okay.
So all of us, to get all of us on the same page, and then the two dock workers that were there.
Well, Larry is like you think it's another one of those monsters like showed up?
Something a little smaller, maybe, or something with smaller hands. Kind of like Yeti, or I don't know about sea creatures. Something with big hands, but not. If it was our same person as last time, there would have been lacerations on the body, and there weren't any. So this person didn't have.
Larry's like last time. Yeah. You mean at the butcher place?
No. Oh.
He's talking about creatures of chaos, basically. What he's calling monsters.
Yeah. In general, creatures of chaos.
Because the general public doesn't know you're involved. Doesn't really know you were involved with the troll thing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
He'll say it anyway. He will intentionally slip up then.
Oh, okay. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about a troll.
Could be a troll.
Are there aquatic trolls?
If it was a troll, their nails would be have been trimmed down. Well, their nails would have been trimmed down. So that's less likely of it to be a troll.
Yeah.
Unless the troll knows a really good mani-pedi person.
So now they're a little disturbed. Oh, great! It might be a person or it might be a monster. Lovely.
Considering what happened at the end of our last meeting, it could also be someone or something intentionally trying to stir up, pardon a corner phrase, to stir up chaos between groups in the city.
There's sort of a head nodding.
Possible.
From the union guys. We'll be sure to tell all the dock workers to walk around in at least pairs, if not groups.
It's a good plan.
Any of them that are here on kind of the slow shifts.
Is anyone are any of the strange folk that are employed here particularly large? I am not. I want to say that with the knowledge or the context here that I am not blaming or throwing accusations. I just want to see, talk to people, see where they were.
Yeah.
He goes, a couple of the orc fellas are a little hefty.
No, it would be much larger than an orc.
But orcs tend, the average orc is a little bit shorter than a person.
Yeah.
Think comparing the size. Have you ever seen pictures of like a Neanderthal standing next to a human? It's not a vast difference, but
yeah.
And they tend to be stockier. So. He goes, but nothing was going. If it was last night, nothing was going on. We weren't having any demonstrations or anything.
Okay.
In fact, why would he have even been near here?
It's a great question.
That goes back to I think someone is trying to intentionally stir up chaos.
Possibly.
From the conversation I had with the detective, he definitely thinks it is suspicious and that I don't think he believes that you all are the cause.
Oh, that's good at least. He'll probably be the only person that thinks that.
In fact, how he put it was, he does not believe anyone would be dumb enough to quote him, whack someone and then dump him out the back door.
Yeah.
At the very least, you would have let him let the body wash away.
Yeah.
In my own opinion, I believe might be a sort of like last time, a third party seeking to capitalize upon a disagreement between two others. Because your disagreement with the company is well known at this point.
As you're talking, another car pulls up, and a fella in a suit gets out. And he just walks straight to Clifford. Tells him he's heard something's gone on. What, And Clifford kind of fills him in. The newcomer is like, as the story goes, shakes it. Yeah, this is a bad look. This is a very bad look. Clifford then introduces you lot to him. Oh yes, I've heard of you. I've only been in town a few weeks, but apparently you quite made the news a month or two ago.
Yeah, we tend to keep doing that.
And he introduces himself as Vasily Wolonsky. And Clifford tells you, he's been helping try to get the Longshoremen's Association kind of reorganized. Actually, I travel around working with unions. Mm-hmm. It's about workers' rights, keeping the capitalists in line. But they wouldn't do this. They try to be as peaceful as possible. I'm sure the police will try to blame us. Perhaps not. He looks up, the one investigator you spoke to, perhaps not. But once it gets further up the chain,
because they can say we handled it quickly.
Indeed. And they can blame someone they already don't like.
Yep.
I'm sure you've heard, the dreadful things the mayor has said about the union.
I've been following.
Yes.
My father was a dock worker too.
Oh. Here or somewhere else?
Up along the river.
Oh, I see. Let's see. The dock workers are starting to break up. Vasily asks Larry, ask some of the men. Crap, what was it? What they knew about this poor man. Why would he have been in this area? Just ask around and see if anybody had any grudges against him specifically. It's the sort of thing the police will be looking up. So if we could know ahead of time, that would be useful. And it vastly just kind of takes over as far as the Union guys once he gets here. But eventually everybody breaks up and kind of goes back to work.
I like the insight, vastly.
Sure. What are you looking for?
I don't know. It's his his immediate wanting somebody to blame them to become the victim seems odd to Michael.
Suspect.
Yeah.
Clearly, you have not looked at the history of Unions.
Yeah.
It seems to be a legit, distrust of the police.
Okay.
Or maybe the establishment in general. You don't particularly get, like he referred to the victim as that poor man, but you don't get the impression that he's really all that sympathetic to the guy.
Okay.
He does this for a business.
Yep.
Maybe not a business, but job.
But
Sure.
Is there anything else y'all wanted to ask anybody or investigate while you're here? Eventually Clifford's got to get back to work too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So everybody starts kind of, saying their goodbyes. If y'all think it's something, just let me know. Vastly gives you a card.
Sorry, Jason. One thing that just popped into my head, just because we know this guy was being held underwater. How far down to the water are we? Because a lot of docks typically are high above them.
Let's see. This dock is probably like 10 feet out of the water. The actual physical dock that they walked out of. It's one. It's just a wooden one. It's designed for smaller ships. Y'all are kind of in one of the less built up sections.
Checking something. Just me. I want to. This is Patrick confirming something.
No, this is Patrick.
Sure, he's never heard that one before.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. I could have, but I didn't want to.
Okay. I just want to make sure the Great Lakes, if the water was, as I couldn't remember if they were actually actual freshwater lakes or not off the top of my head. Yeah. Because if it was freshwater, well, if he was drowned, if he was drowned like a tub or something, it would actually still be that. Because I'm thinking if someone was holding him down, they'd be more, at least some traces of water leading from where it happened. Or if someone was just drowned somewhere else and then jumped in the water.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to tell what water was in his lungs until after they actually took the water out of his lungs.
Yeah, they'd do a full. That would require the full autopsy kind of thing, which they will undoubtedly do.
Or a really long straw.
Fair. Or rubber tubing, and you're siphoning it out.
Yeah, there's ways.
What, Eric? We're not forensics people. We don't know how they do this stuff. Especially in the 20s. It's the 20s. They may use leeches. I don't know.
It's magic.
Ooh, it's magic.
I just got it.
So from here, what are you gonna do? Where do y'all want to go from here? You know,
I
Charlie's
think-
got to work at the hospital. You know, she's got the evening shift tonight, so that's something she'll have to do eventually. Vivian, you've got to speak with a club owner later that night about a job, because I know you were
Yep.
job hunting.
I think Salvador is going to send another letter out to the motherland, as it were,
Okay.
and just inquire about creatures of chaos that would that are large enough or tall enough to hold a human being underwater.
Okay. You were just writing back home. Hey, what do y'all know about these sorts of monsters? You're gonna get a very worried letter back from your mother.
Yep.
Maybe you should just come
also...
you can be Beorn over here.
No. I could. We both know I couldn't. But yeah. I will preface the end of the letter. I am safe. I am taken care of. I have friends. I have friends who will help me with this. That just bold and underlined. But just
Don't worry. The
looking
phrase that makes
at...
mothers worry the most.
Yes. It's not don't worry.
It's
but
okay.
in as
You're
many
gonna be
words, it is.
fine.
Mhm. But I will send that, and it'll be like, with all my love, Salvador. Seal it, because he has his own seal.
Dear Mom, don't send the cavalry.
Yeah.
Eventually, in the distance, I'll hear touch.
They're elven, so it has to be like a war horn.
Yep. They're just marching up into Helm's Deep.
Yep.
His extended family shows up, 20 deep. We're here for the reinforcements.
Yep. Anyway, he does that, and then he will do his he'll just do some like thinking on his own about it. Like, what kind of... if it was a octopus, there'd be suckers, or you mentioned it was just an octopus head, right? Like a
pretty much
Davy
humanoid
Jones
body
situation?
with an octopus head is always how it's been depicted. Now, you've had 1,000
It's-
years, so stories vary slightly, and artwork depictions are all
Sure.
over the place.
I'm just
Yes,
making
sure,
sure.
sure.
Basically, illithid looking is a octopus.
Yes, about to say this
Yes.
screams
Okay.
mind flare to me. Yeah,
Are we talking like
legally
D&D
distinct
Mind
mind flare.
Legally
Yes.
distinct mind flare.
I still think they came
I-
before D&D, didn't they?
I do
Octopuses
like...
were around before Mind Flayers, yes.
Yeah.
RuneQuest
I
did
like
not come out before
octopus
D&D, but
better.
those particular monsters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. Okay, well, yeah. That's mostly what he does. He'll send it, and then he'll come up with his own ideas himself. If it's a octopus, then that means this, and this. But if it's not,
Yeah.
it means
Yeah.
other things.
And the stories really just involve them drowning people, and, cannibalism, because there's almost always some sort of cannibalism dealing with creatures of chaos.
Are
And
ghosts a thing in Creatures of Chaos?
Ghosts are a thing.
Okay.
It's
Bad
up
thing.
in the air whether they're creatures of chaos or not, and ghosts are a little well known to be a thing, at least among more traditional strange folk.
I mean, they're in human, yeah. They're also in like many human folklore.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
more of, like...
considering I literally had a spirit quest with one, so
Sure.
Well, spirits and ghosts are not
Spirits and
necessarily the
ghosts
same
are
thing.
different.
okay.
Spirits are there.
They can be like nature
willingly.
spirits kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Ghosts are literally the soul of a humanoid, generally. And then I'm also looking at like, I guess, other folkloric things in my mind.
Yeah. But So y'all wrap up. It's 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon when y'all wrap it up. What would Teak do with the rest of his day?
You don't really know. I mean, he's probably gonna man the office for a little bit, and then go home. Maybe look at the paper for a new apartment.
Can I have a scene with Teak then? Because then Salvador's like sends that off, and he can go to the office or something.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and I think Salvador will come up with like an order from the diner.
Teak will be sitting there, just like on. If we have a couch, the couch with the paper.
There's this chicken fried steak or something, smothered in gravy. It's like, here you go.
Oh, thanks.
When we're ending the scene, and this is something just popped in my head.
Yep.
So I'm gonna try to get a little practice with it too. I kind of walk off to the side. I'm going to try to at least try my detect magic. Considering you just got it.
Okay. So you'd be doing this at the dock, okay?
Dock's correct.
Right, give me a roll.
Gotcha. Go for it.
I am on the ball tonight. 14.
All right, and that's out of a what now?
70.
That's right, because this is based on your POW, isn't it?
Yep.
So, 70 and a 14. All right. Let me look up exactly what you pick up out of Detect Magic.
And, spend it a point. I think it's just a point to do it.
Yes, Detect Magic is 1 point. Alright, working in a similar manner to detect enemies. The fetish guides the... Oh, what kind of object do you have? Do you use for your... What is your fetish for the detect magic? I know we had discussed it maybe being an amulet or... you could make it a set of reading glasses. Ooh,
that's what I was kind of thinking. It looks like a pair of
monocle,
like reading glasses.
Okay.
And if you actually look up close, you can kind of see patterns drawn into them.
So yeah, very thin, very fine little lines, either etched in the frames.
Yeah.
Do they even have lenses?
They may not need them, but who knows? If
so
they
so
do
you
have
get
lenses,
close to it, you can see where there's like etchings and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so you put the glasses on. All right, this does not detect spirits. Seeks out magical things which do not regenerate their own power points, including undead, and magical things which cast spells or things which have spells cast upon them. Let's see, you got a special. There is a lingering magical effect down in the water where the body was found. Or in that general area. It's not the water specifically itself. Let's see, and you've got a special.
3 in a row, I gotta get me some dice.
But
and that doesn't really mean anything to me. I also got a special, and I rolled on the dice roller.
Switch to actual dice because Good lord, the dice roller really hates
Oh, that
me.
first session or two, it hated everybody, myself included.
Yeah.
I think it was in a snit because we didn't use it last campaign. So yeah, there's definitely a magical effect down there, right around where the body was pulled out.
Interesting.
And it's really the only magical effect in the area, because you turn on your powers and it's kind of like bing. Which means something was cast on this area. Because if it had cast it on,
like a person, it'd just be on them.
Right. Or if they had or if they cast it on an object, even if it was within range, you'd be drawn to that object. So this was clear as what an area something that went on.
If it's this wide of an area, because no one said they saw anything until they found the body, right?
Yeah. Now, time of death wise, you figure this was probably up in the might have been 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, but definitely up during the night.
That night I've noted this. Occult or essentially any kind of ward and or like masking. What this would be like. Essentially something to hide what was happening here. Or am I just knowing that I'm not getting that big a detail?
Well, the detection just lets you. It's like a Geiger counter, magic.
Yeah, I know it's a Geiger counter. I'm kind of using that information to.
Go ahead and give me an occult roll.
Well, that may not be. Dang it, just out.
So nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. You'll have to do some research. You're not really sure.
No.
But, so jumping back to the office, Saldor, you walked in with
some chicken fried steak, and I just gave it to Teak. Yeah. He has a cheeseburger himself. He's like, well, Teak, it's been a month and a half or so. How are you feeling?
I'm all right. How about you?
I
Pick up the plate.
It's been nice having you over, but yeah, kind of gotta, any leads on places is what I'm asking.
Oh, I mean, I still have the apartment. I can go back anytime you want me to.
I don't want to kick you out if you feel like you're in danger. Is the thing.
I doubt I'm in danger. Just it's been nice not having to worry about it so much. But
Yeah, no,
I can go back whenever. Just let me know when you want to get rid of me.
No, I that's the thing. I like having you there. You're a good company. It's amazing how much you said you're 3 foot, right? You're like 3 foot something.
Yeah.
It's
You
amazing
open
how
a
much
filing cabinet and that's his bed and you close it.
It's amazing how much space a 3 foot kobold takes in an apartment that's not very big to begin with.
Yeah, you haven't seen my apartment.
Just picturing the scene from Futurama where like Bender opens his closet and it's like the whole first apartment.
Yeah.
He's organized. It's just that he has a lot of mechanic shit in it.
Sure. Yeah, and I want you to be safe because you're part of the group. So if you feel like you still need to be here, you need to be in my place. I will happily have you. I just wanted to see how the search was going.
How's the search been going, Jason? I assume because he's average wealth. I don't know what the apartment would be in this area.
Give me a luck roll.
Luck roll. Oh yay.
Oh yeah.
Nope.
Oof.
So it sounds like you've had no luck finding a spot.
Yeah, he shakes his head. He's like, I've tried a few, but haven't really found anything.
Okay, that's okay. Like I said, you're welcome to stay as long as you like. The benefit of having, again, somebody who's about 3 feet tall is they don't eat much.
I appreciate that.
Just wanted to just making sure you are safe. And the other ones can take care of themselves, but for the most part.
I mean, I can take care of myself too. It's just that apartment was kind of given to me, so
Yeah.
It's up.
Well,
It's up there with. I just got the image. It's like one of those old Chester trunks of holding. That's actually where Teak lives. You open it up. There's like a stairwell that goes down.
Now I'm thinking about
If
Snoopy's
only.
doghouse.
if only.
well,
So.
I'll leave you to it then. Enjoy the food. Just remember to give the plate back down. They're really sticklers about that after the last time.
Sure thing. I owe you a meal, if anything.
Sure. I look forward to it. Finish the burger. Probably just like quietly finish the burger, nod to Tegan, and head back down.
Okay.
Give the plate back.
Teak will go back to
his
apartment hunting.
All right, Michael, what do you do for the rest of the day? That you heard.
Hello?
I said, what does Michael do for the rest of the day?
Oh, sorry. I was typing up notes. He is going to. Hey, heads. He is going to try to do some research on the Dock Workers Union and the company.
Okay.
See if I can get a better understanding of how those two corporations kind of either operate / clash / butt heads with one another. Basically, just to get a better understanding of how these two groups operate.
Okay.
If there's anything that might. So, in case something does come to a head, he can maybe try to kind of de-escalate situations a bit.
All right, let's make a roll then.
I do have a research skill.
That's what I was looking for. So give me a roll in your research.
Yeah, let me just find it real quick. There it is. Dang.
Wolf.
Tonight is not your night.
Could reroll. What's its
You
face?
can reroll
Wow.
PowerPoints.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I
you
was
could
just thinking
spend
that.
you could spend POW to reroll.
I can, yeah.
I believe it's 5 points.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll do that.
I know it's 1 point higher than Teek's POW. Or equal to Teek's POW.
Yeah.
I think it's equal.
I think it's equal.
That's right. That's right, because he can do it, but then he passes that.
Jeez.
It's gonna be one of those nights.
Hang on a second. We call it a reroll, but I think you actually roll luck for it. Let me look.
That's the one where I just make the luck roll. I could do that. So I could do that instead of the research roll. Because there's one where you can re-roll it again. And then there's one where you just roll luck instead.
This one would be the fate point one, so the one with the power points.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay. Let me roll that.
So 5 power points, reroll any percentile roll dice. This can be declared after the initial roll, the result of the second roll. Okay, no, this is the one that you do. This is the actual reroll. Okay.
You could do one or the other.
Oh yeah, you can use the difficult luck roll instead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, that's the two options.
I mean, I could do the luck roll, but I did do the skill re-roll already.
Yeah, if you do the skill reroll, you have to take what the second result is.
Yeah, so. So I still failed regardless.
Yeah. So you start the process, but but worker company relations not being something you've dealt with much is not something you have kind of readily available.
Yeah.
not a union lawyer.
No, he's not.
Uh,
Granted, if one of them ends up like suing the other, were suits a thing in the 1920s?
lawsuits, of course.
Or okay,
Those go back. Those go back a very long way.
fair enough. If me playing a lawyer, knowing absolutely nothing about law.
Happens.
So you spend. You probably wind up spending more of the afternoon organizing, getting ready to really, figuring out what files you need and where to get them from,
Mm-hmm.
where to go check paper, old papers or something.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, you don't have any luck finding anything, but you're getting organized. Duba,
Yes, sir.
what is George gonna do with his day?
Hmm. That is a good question. Well, crap.
Does he have any personal business he'd like to get into? Any avenue he'd like to investigate? I can come back to you if you need a minute.
I mean, yeah, give me a minute to think on that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Not a problem. All right, Patrick, what is Leo up to?
He is actually wants to pursue that idea that he popped into his head to see if he can research any kind of spell or something similar that would actually sort of more or less mask, because he suspects now that he knows magic was involved, particularly in just the general area, that someone tried to hide it. And so, which skill would I be using this instance? Occult or?
You already made the occult roll, so this is not knowledge that's kind of already in your head.
Yeah.
So you might need research.
Which I have, which isn't great.
So give me a research roll. And what is your score?
My score is a 38.
Okay.
And I got a 35. So I succeeded.
Success, but not especially. Okay.
Yeah, nothing fancy.
Uh,
That wasn't that roll because I just threw the dice back in the box. It was a 92.
All right, so you know there are ways to do illusionary magic. Let's see. I'm trying to remember if that's shamanistic or not, though.
At least to that roll.
Let's see here. Alright, so spirit magic. Befuddle control by. Sorry, I'm just having to look to see what which spells fall under what. All right, so you know shamans are capable of silencing an area, which could potentially be something useful.
Yeah, because they wouldn't be able to hear any screams or anything like that, so we're struggling.
You don't really see. Shamans don't really have access to something that makes them invisible. Other forms of spellcasters have various illusionary magics. Where shamans are limited to kind of a glamour type thing. You might be able to alter what you look like, but not like put up a scene.
Yeah.
Where some people that claim to be divinely powered can do some of those illusions. Now, coming at it from a shaman point of view, you look at those people as mildly deluded.
Yeah.
Gods are just very powerful spirits. You're overstating them to some degree.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep looking to see if there's a flat out silent spell outside of.
Yeah.
But anyway, and there are spells that will summon fog and mist, or clouds, however it's worded.
Yeah.
It really depends on what kind of spellcaster was doing it.
Yeah.
As far as if your ideal was to, something that would have hidden their actions.
Yeah.
So you've got a list of possibilities. Charlie.
Yes.
All right. So, is there anything you want to do in the early afternoon before you have to go in for your evening shift?
Probably not.
Okay. So you go home, relax a little bit, get ready. You go into work. They've got you working the emergency room tonight. And you've been there a couple hours. Somewhere between 7 and 8. There's a little rush. A bunch of people come in. Looking like they've been in a brawl. Nobody is shot. One guy is has been stabbed. Not anywhere like immediately, going to be immediately fatal or he walks in holding, under his own power, holding the wound. There has apparently been a brawl down at the docks. Some of these guys have concussions. Like I said, there's the one stab victim who's probably the worst injured.
Yeah.
They're escorted in by the cops. Clearly there are people from both sides of this fight here because they're still kind of yelling at each other. Fussing with each other, and anytime they get a little too loud, the cops on hand basically get them to shut back up.
Mm-hmm.
You're of course the stab victim. Of course, comes to sent to you.
Yeah.
Some of the
Yeah.
Nurses and so forth can handle kind of the bruises and checking the guys for concussions and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You may run behind and check their work afterwards. But the stab victim, you got to go in there and clean out the wound and stitch it up.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they didn't get in there and nick anything important, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if you want to give me your medicine
roll.
Or medic, whatever it's called.
I mean, there's medicine and then there's first aid.
This is not first aid particularly. You're sitting here in the full.
I succeeded.
The full suite of surgery gear if you need.
Unless I needed to fail, but I succeeded.
So yeah, you patch this guy up. Yeah, He'll be fine. It's not a real deep cut. He was bleeding pretty bad, but it's but he'd put pressure on it and all that. So,
Okay.
and he's griping while you do the work because you didn't really have to cut into him or go into him, so you didn't have to put him under.
Mm-hmm.
He just sort of grits his teeth while you're doing the stitching.
I'm gonna ask though, what's with all the fighting and the stabbing?
Oh, the lazy dock workers won't, they don't want to work any harder, but they want more money and they want, this, that, and the other. Clearly, this guy's in management. And one of the guys from the company, he turned up dead this morning.
Oh,
Pretty sure, pretty sure the union had to be involved. I mean, it was over close to one of their offices. So we weren't taking no, when the union did their were doing their little demonstration tonight, we weren't taking no guff. I don't know, At some point, one of them threw a bottle at somebody, and then the fight was just kind of on. And I'm just wading in with my hands, and one of them punks, pulls a knife on me.
I mean,
Gotta start
sometimes when you try to stop a fight, it happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I'm better armed next time. Oh, and what I do to get my hands on that commie fella.
Tommy fella.
Yeah, some guy that came in. He's trying to help reorganize the union or something. I don't know. Thought they'd learned the lesson a couple of years ago when they tried to strike. But as far as I know, he's not even a dock worker. He just goes around, stirring up workers.
Did he also get hurt in the fight?
Not that I saw, but he's certainly, he's not one of the guys that's out in the weight room.
Okay.
And you finish patching him up. And if you got any other questions you want to ask him, go ahead.
I'm trying to think of other questions to ask. I don't think I have any right now.
Okay.
That I can think of.
So driving back down to Duba. Have you thought of anything for George?
Probably just take care of some personal business. Maybe see about if there is a way to, or somewhere where he can sell off any excess food he is not using in terms of making into alcohol.
Okay, it's probably a farmer's market sort of place.
Yeah, he'd probably go seek the farmer's market, see if there's a way he could periodically come there and sell stuff, and what he needs to do in order to do that.
Okay. Yeah, it's I don't know if they do it by fee, or if you just kind of rent the stall. Oh, but you get the basics covered. You know who to contact. Obviously you wouldn't rent a stall on any kind of permanent basis because you're just kind of in and out. But yeah, you don't have any trouble setting that up. It is a Miss McGregor that you have to talk to.
Okay.
Jot that name down in case she actually becomes a character at some point. Yeah, you never know when who will come to y'all with problems.
Yeah.
Let's see if I have not done Vivian as of yet. So what would Vivian like to get into?
Probably just practice up until the evening.
Okay. So you're singing in your apartment, basically.
Probably
Or do you-
more violin.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
She does both, but probably would just do violin or piano as performance.
So as you're sitting there practicing, you've been practicing for a little bit. Lilac gets home.
Busy day at the couriers?
Not too bad. There was only a handful of packages, but a lot of sitting around waiting. Drop one off, wait, to carry a response back, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I was over at the docks today, though.
So you've probably heard and are going to ask me for details, I'm guessing.
What, were you there for the fight?
The fight?
Yeah, it may still be going on.
No, I was there earlier after they found a dead body.
Oh, I had heard this. Hang on,
You
let
first.
me get us something to drink. So yeah, she comes back with tea. And you give her the summary of the morning.
I'll give her the tea.
Yeah. But she's like, yeah, I had to drop something off at the carry a message to the Flynn Shipping Co. And then I wound up sitting around for a while. And yeah, when I showed up, the dock workers were protesting. They've been doing that off and on for a few weeks now.
Yeah, not unusual.
But and then the a bunch of the management and their security guys, and a fair number of folks kind of came out and started harassing the protesters. And then there was some shoving, and then somebody threw a bottle, and then
It spiraled downwards from there.
Yeah. I didn't get to see how it wrapped up. The police were arriving as I,
Major escape.
as I was given. Well, I was not involved.
I know.
I was sitting in an office looking out a window at it. But when they gave me the response package. Man, I wonder if that's why they seem so agitated.
Doesn't look like it was any of the dock workers that did it, though. The bruises and stuff were too big to be anyone that would have been working there.
There.
Ooh, another troll?
No, not that big.
Yeah, I don't know if trolls like water anyway.
I mean, they like bridges, so you'd think they might.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe they just like it for the humidity. Who knows?
Of course, streams aren't as likely, you're not as likely to drown in them. I mean, not if you're a troll size. I've got to look out for large puddles. But
trolls might not be as buoyant. They might just sink like a rock.
Yeah, I always heard growing up that's how dwarves were, but
Yeah, they can swim though. Not this
then
guy.
I found out
though.
that was just a folk tale.
Didn't happen to hear anything interesting.
I don't know, some profanity from the managers that didn't go out to fight.
Well,
they don't seem to think much of the workers.
Yeah. That much I would figure.
But now they were fussing about somebody specific that was stirring them up.
Oh?
Yeah. Vasley, something like that.
That's the name of the guy from earlier, right?
Yes. And he had some kind of ski last name. I didn't quite catch it.
Yeah, he was there earlier, out of towner that goes around helping unions try to organize better.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. He feels kind of maybe snake oil salesman, but maybe that's just the vibe I get because going from town to town doing stuff like that feels kind of, I
I
don't
don't know.
know,
You got a lot of
slimy.
labor organizers these days.
Yeah.
Uh, so what were you playing when I came in? And then she drifts off into small talk about your music.
Just practicing.
Oh yeah, you got an interview tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I can't live off my good looks and charm forever.
No, that's an entirely different profession.
That is an entirely different profession.
Oh my.
Then she
There's an-
pauses for a moment. She looks at Vivian. I was talking about acting. What were you talking about?
I was talking about acting as well. What do you think I was talking about?
Oh, acting. Definitely acting.
Definitely acting.
Though a lot of
Either
your
way.
trophy wife would probably work too.
I am nobody's trophy wife. That has been proven.
Yeah.
Did that, done that.
Either way, I don't know. At least I'm pretty decent at music. I can.
Oh yeah, you're great.
If nothing else, it gets me out and about. Kind of feel guilty. Everyone else has jobs and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll hang out around the apartment or at the office. I have nothing to do.
That's last year.
So what club are you talking to today?
I don't know, Jam. What club am I talking to today?
No, that was my cue to let you make up a name. The tables were turned.
Bouncing into each other like a basketball.
I can give you one, but it's more D&D than anything.
Just think 1920s.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Fantasy name generator's never done me wrong.
Which means it might end up being a strange folk club.
I've got to have bar ones. Places and locations. Here we go. Do they really not have a bar one, or do they just have tavern? Probably just tavern. Do they not have a tavern one? Oh, tavern names. Okay. I'm not calling it this, but the one that's on this list is hilarious.
What you get?
The jealous cashew. I'm not going with that.
The Alchemist's Brew.
Call it the Gilded Branch.
Gilded Branch.
Gilded Branch. Like it. Appropriate for the period.
Yeah, I was like, something gilded. It's not a dive, but it's not something that my mom and dad would be caught at.
She's like, well, there's a lot of room between those two extremes.
There is a lot of room.
I mean, truthfully,
yeah.
they're going to avoid a jazz club almost completely anyway.
They're going to avoid walking out their front door almost completely some days.
Imagine giving them the vapors, their daughter performing
the
jazz.
Scandal. No, the Scandal would be teaching Hyacinth to play.
Oh, that's something we should totally do.
I know. Couple years.
And save it for the epilogue.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you eventually make your way to the Gilded Branch. You arrive. The band's playing. There's no singing going on, but the band is playing. You are supposed to be meeting a. Oh, let's see. Give me a French name.
Fantasy name generator, never done me wrong. It doesn't have French names, really?
I didn't realize Allard
Oh
was
wait,
a
no.
French name.
Europe.
What? Oh, muted.
Yeah.
Damn. John Paul sounds like a French name.
Pierre
Jean-Paul.
Louis
Yeah.
Calvet. I don't know.
Pierre
Jean
sounds
Louis Mallet.
French.
We'll go with
Jean-Pierre
Omelette
Pierre,
du
but,
sounds
fromage.
That was. Yep, that.
but I will go with Allard. That's an old French surname. Germanic origin, but the French are of
Close
Germanic
enough.
origin. So
Same continent.
yeah. So yeah, so Pierre Allard, who's the owner of the club, he sees you when you walk in and kind of motions you over. Lilac has tagged along.
That's what I like to.
You know, she doesn't
Goes
plan on
over.
not going back and sitting in on the meeting or anything, but you know, it's
Yeah.
an excuse to go to the club.
An excuse. Shakes his hand, follows wherever gestures to lead to.
And Pierre is an elf. This is
Mhm.
a predominantly strange folk club. So you've got, you know, the dance floor, and then you've also got sprites all up above that. Some of the chandeliers even have like little platforms kind of on the top of it that the really small sprites
Fantastic.
like Lilac can actually like physically dance on.
Probably how they got the Gilded Branch name.
There is a very nature motif along the wall. Sometimes just painted, and sometimes on the wood there's actually like carvings. A lot of the wood is gilded. The club was it has slid downhill some. It was a much nicer club probably 10 years ago. It is still, like you said, not bad at all. I mean, it's something the average folk would look at as, you know, this is us going to the nice club.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to really impress anybody, you know, ritzy. But you get over to Vivian, good to see you.
Thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
Oh, happy to. You know, our last singer, you know, got married and ran off. Not willing to make sacrifices for the art.
Vivian just kind of smiles and nods at that, like,
He's smiling
that
like
sounds
he's not
familiar.
super serious. Like he's not super serious about that.
Yeah.
He has a slight French accent that you've thus far been unable to determine if he's actually from France or if he's just good at putting on that. You know, if it's a put on for the clientele.
Yeah.
But he invites you back to the office. You know, they ask you if you want anything to drink.
Just water.
He pours your glass. Want to stay, you know, come off as serious and professional in front of the potential boss. That makes sense. He then pours himself wine. So you know, I've checked around your references. Some of the other clubs you've worked at, everybody speaks well of you. If I hadn't been busy this morning, I would have, you know, we'd have had this meeting earlier before the club opened, so I could have had you on stage to, you know, to give me a demonstration.
Of course. Everyone's been busy this morning.
Oh, out hunting, still out job hunting?
I had a meeting with some acquaintances. Had some business to take care of.
Let me see if he realizes you're the Vivian he's reading about in the papers.
She's like, please don't, please don't, please don't.
Alternatively, if he does, then he's got a really good violinist.
Got a free in. They just you put a stamp on your application. Hired as fuck.
Hired AF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Where is his?
Hold on. Are you making stat blocks for everybody, or are you just using like?
I've got a
Generic
bunch of
blocks.
generic stat blocks for.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
I was like,
people.
you said
Yeah,
you said like
this
where's
is-
the stat block? I was like, huh?
Yeah. This is.
Yeah, this system.
He's the
Yeah.
final boss.
I've got generic. I've got generic civilian sort of stat blocks and generic
Gotcha.
police stat blocks.
We have to fiddle duel him at the end.
We just stick you on him for a violin like duel.
He has a golden violin somewhere.
All right,
I was gonna say, really, the devil went down to Georgia.
all right, so his ideal role.
That was what I was going for.
Yep. I was going for Robot Satan.
Also, devil goes down to Georgia.
So you go, other business. He's like, oh, nothing dangerous, I hope.
No, just a general meeting.
With anybody I know?
Does she know of this guy from her time here before? Has she heard of him?
No, he moved to town sometime while you were gone.
Okay.
He purchased the Gilded Branch about 3 years ago.
She's debating now. Depends on how familiar you are with some folks. Some of them are recent transfers in. Some have been here a while. A couple different walks of life.
Oh, what are the names? I mean, I don't know if I know them unless I.
She inwardly sighs, outwardly keeps the face on. There's a Salvador, Michael Anderson, Leopold Teak, Charlie O'Brien, George Stone.
He smiles, opens his drawer, pulls out a newspaper. The first newspaper headline about the beorn. I knew it.
Yes, that's us.
Fabulous. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well, sir.
It's good to know the strange folk of this city have some protection. The cops, good for keeping general order. But...
We all do our best.
Because of course, this won't have any effect on whether you're hired or not. I mean, that will depend solely on whether you're on your singing and your violin play. Speaking of which, like I said, we'd usually do a tryout. And obviously, I'm not going to throw you on stage with your violin to try to play with the boys without having practice together. But we don't have a singer tonight. And if the boys know all the old standards, they we wouldn't try anything too complicated.
I'd be willing to give it a shot, at least for a couple songs, if you need somebody.
Yes, just a couple of songs, just to get this portion, out of the way, the tryout portion.
And luckily, she dressed nicely enough for her interview.
Yeah.
Of course, I will do my best. Maybe a little bit of jitters. It's been a few years, but hopefully
it's like riding a bicycle.
Falling off a horse.
I'm sure it's like riding a bicycle.
Of course.
Which, come to think of it, I never learned to do.
I'm sure learning to ride a bicycle is just like learning to ride a bicycle.
he just snorts and comes out, and you go out and he goes to talk to some, kind of the stage handler guy. Okay, the boys will take a break in 5 minutes. I'll introduce you, and I will not actually be introducing you. I have not come up with the band's names. So yeah, little 5-minute break.
She takes the time that he's talking to the band to briefly scream into the void.
But
not actually, but like mentally just staring into the distance.
And when the music, when they go on their break and the music stops, there's just this, cloud of sprites that descends and then goes over to one corner of the bar that's kind of set up more for people their size.
Yes.
I love it.
And it once again demonstrates the fairly sizable difference between the larger range of sizes that the fairies have. Like that sprites are just generally what you call the smaller one, though they're all the same people.
Yeah.
Mr. Aller, takes you around, introduces you to the band.
Smiles, shakes hands.
Oh yeah, they're pleased to meet you. When Al tells you, oh yeah, she's gonna do a couple of songs with you, just they nod. They ask you what you'd like to sing. What song? Since the boss is clearly springing this on you, and you got to watch him. He tends to he's quick to do that sort of thing.
The
whatever
player
song
doesn't have any ideas. The player doesn't know what she'd be familiar with, but Vivian would know what she's familiar with. So
yeah.
she would just list off a couple ones that are fairly common.
Yeah, some of the old
and that she
jazz
has sung
standards.
before.
So yeah, y'all go back and y'all figure out which 2 songs you're gonna do. When you go back on stage, Allard does a little introduction. Basically says that she's guesting tonight, and until basically he'll go, if you'd like her to show up more often, let
the bartender know.
Well, let us all know when once the performance is over. So a lot of the dancers get back out on the dance floor. The sprites that have finished their drinks are back up there. Lilac gives you a thumbs up. She zips a little bit closer to the stage, gives you a thumbs up, and disappears up top.
Discreet thumbs up.
And then the music starts.
And she will roll, or I will roll for that. Thank God.
Ooh, that's a special. So would Vivian start with like a kind of a fast song or a slow song?
Probably start out with faster songs and then work down to slower songs.
Okay. So yeah, first song's very peppy. Good one to dance to. And the song wraps up, thunderous applause. Percy is over there. He's been smiling big through the whole front. He's nodding his head. Kind of holds his cup up almost toast-like to you when you're finished. And then you go for something slower and more, still capable of being danced to, but it's not swing jazz particularly. Go ahead and give me a roll for the second song.
Oof.
I'm going to luck that.
Okay. Are you going to luck it for a reroll or for a luck roll?
Oh, I mean, the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the...
Are
Yeah,
you
power
re-rolling?
points.
It's
or are
five,
you
it's 5
making
power
a
points
luck roll?
regardless.
Yeah, it's 5 power points, whichever option you want to do.
Yeah.
And the luck is rolling
Yeah.
on a difficulty.
Yes, it is a difficult luck roll. So with an 80% in your vocals, the regular reroll probably better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's still really close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dice have a story, and I'm not going with it. Just beating the story back with a broom, like get.
So
No, no.
So yeah, so you wrap up perfectly adequately. But you just really nailed it with that first song. And still lots of applause. Maybe not quite as thunderous as that first one, but and then the band goes back to just crap. Blanked on my word.
Just crap.
Yes, they go back to just playing crap. No,
God, they're rolling.
know,
They're rolling hundreds.
just back to the instrumental. Allard welcomes you back to his office. Oh, that was marvelous. That was marvelous. I think you'll do quite well. You seem the boys seem to like you fine. I mean, obviously it's first meetings, but so we are looking for a fairly permanent singer. If you're interested.
I would do it as often as I'm able to.
Oh yeah, I understand you have that other job, and that's quite important. It probably doesn't pay well, but it's quite important.
It does not pay at all, but
Come to think of it,
as
a
you
lot of
said, helping the
jobs
people.
don't pay well.
That's typically how it goes. It pays in other ways.
So he sits down. Y'all start having a discussion about how much you want. He makes an offer. His first offer is a little low.
She would negotiate back and be like, "It's a well-established establishment. I can't imagine that you would be so, short on clientele."
Oh no, we've been doing well enough, and it's pretty busy. I mean, it's a middle of the week weeknight, so you're familiar enough with Florida to know it's one of the slower days, but it was still decent.
Yes. Besides, aside from singing, I also play violin well as piano. So if by chance one of the boys has to sit out a night, you wouldn't lose a piano or a violinist.
That is something to consider, and he'll have you in to play. Someday when you're available for opening, you can come in and. Well, no, I take that back. At some point in the day when the boys are practicing, he'll have you in. You'll start practicing with the band.
Yeah.
But give me a bargaining roll.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy.
Bargaining or charisma work into it any well to lower the point value, maybe, or make it an easier roll? What was that combined roll?
So you can use one as a
Boost to the other.
As a complementary, which is you add 1/5 of that percentage to whatever you roll.
Yeah.
Or you could augment, which you make a roll of that skill. If you fail, it increases the difficulty by 1 step. If you succeed, it decreases the difficulty by 1 step. However, doing an augment roll allows you to check that skill for a skill completion.
But it wouldn't work with a stat. Like a characteristic.
No, I don't believe so.
That'd be
well, hail.
Well, you can always make the roll and then do a re-roll with your luck. Yeah. Or in this case, I might let you make the re-roll with the charisma instead of the luck.
Or I can just actually roll right underneath it.
Yeah.
Take that skill.
Yep.
It grows.
You think she'd have
you-
more with having like knowledge in business? She don't.
Maybe it's not something she focused
We
on.
all have.
You know.
We
You
all
get that
have
kind of
weaknesses.
baseline training your parents made sure you had, and then you didn't touch it after that.
Yeah.
You know, like most people
Read this
whose
book,
parents
write
made them
this essay.
Wondercordians, other than Weird Al.
Weird Al's like, I'm going to make this my whole life.
They made me learn this. I'm going to make money on it. So, you know, y'all do some bargaining, and you settle on a perfectly fair price. You know, a smidge lower to start with, and after a month or so, if you're working out, then it kind of automatically jumps up to, you know, another $1 or $2.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
She's just happy to be working.
Yep. And you can hang around, you know.
Yeah, she'll get a drink with Lilac.
So Lilac's delighted to hear how it went. Oh, thank goodness. I was afraid I was going to start being prompt with my half of the rent.
No. You don't have to worry about ever being prompt again. In fact, I will buy your drink. Our paper umbrella's a thing at this time, I've got to know.
I'll let you look that up then. All right, Teak, how late do you stay at the office?
Probably like we got back at like 1-ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said he'd probably stay there, probably close to like 5 or 6.
Okay. So, yeah, reasonable business hours. A lot of
Yeah.
stuff closes at 5 or 6.
Yeah. And seeing as the apartment hunt doesn't go very well, he starts looking for places that might have an electric start.
Easy to find. That is easy to find.
Okay.
You know, you have automotive parts stores at this point.
Yeah, he'll circle one to be like, I'm going here after work tomorrow if nothing comes up.
And being a mechanic, you probably know where a lot of those places would be anyway.
Yep. Find one fairly reasonable.
You find the one that hope this small place will make it. It's called AutoZone. # not sponsored. Or with my age, the pound sign, not sponsored, but there you go.
So you sit around in the office, you know. It's not really a lot of paperwork to piddle with. I don't really know what Teak does while he's there. You know, other than just be ready to answer the phone.
Yeah, like most of it's
Snooze,
just
yeah.
like him sitting there reading the paper. Other than that, he's just kind of relaxing.
Feet kicked up. The one desk fan well, no, it's still
March?
Yes, it was the tail end of March.
Yeah.
This adventure will
The
probably
window's
blend-
slightly cracked.
This adventure will blend into April. I'm trying to keep y'all lined up month-wise with what month it actually is. So that last
like
storyline
the
really got out of hand, lengthwise.
The window's just slightly cracked. Let a little air in.
Okay.
And then before he leaves, he'll make sure to close it, lock the doors.
Does he remember to carry the plates back down to the diner?
Yes, he does.
Okay. All right,
Cat
so the next day, who would be the first person to the office?
Probably Salvador and Teak, unless someone else had a reason to get there even earlier than how Salvador's old elf ass gets up.
What day is it?
Good
You know,
question.
I don't think I named off a day of the week.
Yep.
Let's say
Is-
yesterday was Friday, so it's Saturday morning.
Okay. So yeah, then it
Oh
would
no,
be
I said
probably
I
Salvador.
no, I take that back.
You just say it was the middle of the week.
I said middle of the week.
Yeah.
So we'll say it was Thursday,
Okay.
so it's Friday morning.
So if unless Salvador needed to go somewhere, Teak would drop him off and then go to work.
Okay.
Because I'm sure Teak works throughout the week.
Yeah.
Yep, that's reasonable. Then yeah, he'll mention wanting to go to the office just to piddle around and see if anyone needs us.
Yep. Teak will be like, sure, I'll drop you off.
Kind of getting like Alias vibes from the group.
Vivian will go there, but it won't be like first thing in the morning. Like second
Salvador's
thing.
Salvador's
Second coffee.
Eating a sandwich. Salvador's eating a sandwich in the office with the plate.
Mm-mm-mm.
Picked up breakfast at the diner.
Yeah. It's
We'll
gonna
say
be awful for my carbs.
Unless he's called, and Michael's probably going to be doing more research.
Okay.
I actually rolled for this because essentially I stay because some of the guys who got roughed up in the union fight want to talk to a friendly doctor.
You know, it's a perfectly valid way to
but-
do research. You do have some folks, clearly not emergency level guys, but yeah, most they would have been shipped to the hospital. But you have people coming in with aches and pains, and you know, can you check and make sure this isn't broken? No, this is just dislocated.
Here, let me put that back in place.
Hang on. Oh, Jesus.
Of course, it's all strange folk that come to you.
Clearly, we're just gonna have to amputate.
But
I have the saw.
My mind immediately went to Atlantis. Goes right through a bone and.
So, what do you just want to know what went down at the docks, kind of thing?
Yes. While I'm treating people, I also ask around. Well, what happened down there too? So.
He mentions the body that was found. He was not one of the ones that were hanging around, so he didn't know you were already been there.
Yeah.
But as far as the fight, they get, most nights they have at least a few folks out there, maybe a dozen or so, protesting or picketing. But then, they got the call. They wanted a larger group that evening because they were with the whole body thing. They were worried management might crack down, so more numbers for protection, kind of thing.
Yeah.
He goes, that didn't help. Apparently, management had spent the day getting their own bully boys gathered up. At first it was just yelling back and forth. And then they started it. They shoved a couple of guys down, and it was kind of on at that point. And most everybody else, it's similar. They pretty much all want to, one of the guys like, I didn't see what they did. They did something, and then so and so threw a bottle at one of them, and
Bottle.
So basically where Charlie was getting the manager side of it, the hooligans started it. The workers are basically like, them sorry SOBs started. And like that, you don't have too many, nothing's too bad. It's, one guy's head achy and you realize he probably still has a mild concussion, should probably take the day off. One or two people with something that was dislocated where it was hurt when they got home, but they figured it'd be fine once they slept on it, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
Some guys that just wanted checked out because their wives,
told them to.
Wanted somebody to look at it, somebody to look at him for sure. People they had a knot on his head, but not actually a concussion, that sort of thing. So, business-wise, a good day for you.
Yep.
A little rush in the morning, and I've made my day already. Nice. Michael, you're researching. When Dorothy gets there, she kind of quizzes you on what you're researching. And she makes a comment about, the Yeah, she thinks those dock workers had, a few years ago had gone on strike. It wasn't something she paid any attention to at the time. She just remembers hearing about it. Doesn't think it went very well for him, but go ahead and give me a research roll. All right, that's a 23. Let's see. So yeah, they'd gone on strike back in 22.
Mhm.
But yeah, and the strike was broken by police and non-union workers. The shipping companies, the owners, kind of declared total victory in the papers.
Mhm.
Technically the association didn't go away or anything, but they hadn't done anything else until recently. Let's see. A year ago, the Flynn Shipping Company, bought out a bunch of the interest in the area, which means it was not technically the Flynn Company that was involved in the previous strike.
Mhm.
But they bought out the other company's interest, so a lot of the same management team is probably still there. It's just the people at the very top swapped out more than anything. And it's been a few years, so attrition and whatnot. Let's see. About a year ago, the union really started kind of reorganizing. They were getting like advice and help from somebody out of town. And then a couple of weeks ago, Vasley showed up.
Mhm.
And there's been a few newspaper articles about him since he showed up. Depending on which side of the workers' issue the paper is on, kind of depends on the the opinion they have of him. Most of the papers, which are fairly anti-union, there's a lot of anti-union sentiment, kind of just period, in the 20s.
Yep.
So a lot of them talk about him as being kind of a meddler. He's known to have worked with other workers groups. Apparently, he is actually a card-carrying communist. This is the 1920s, so it's pre that being. Communists were not looked at in necessarily a positive light, generally speaking. But this is way pre-Red Scare. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. The Russian Revolution was just like a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So everybody's kind of watching the communists nervously, but crap. What was it? There's a particular Trotskyite is the word that they use for him. He's very into the writings of Trotsky. And Trotsky's writings do call for the violent overthrow of governments by the working class. That's not really something Vasley goes into, sort of thing, though. But he is clearly very pro, worker. Let's see, and that's kind of the big thing. Let's see, you just got a regular success. So that's really all you're getting. You're getting kind of the background info right now. Let's see. Salvador was the one at the office.
Yeah.
So Leo's working. Charlie and George. Well, it's one at a time. So Charlie, what would you be doing in the morning?
Well, since I had the night shift, I'd probably be sleeping.
Okay. So you'll sleep a little late because, and when I'm saying night shift, not totally overnight, but like you go in at 5. You probably got off around 12 or 1 or something. So sleeping in makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
George, what are you up to?
Probably had just gotten up, probably gotten coffee, picked up the local paper, see what's going on in the world before potentially starting the day.
Walk up, toss a nickel to the newsboy.
Pretty much.
I have no idea what papers cost in the 20s. That sounds about right. But big headlines. Talking about the brawl at the dock. The article itself brings up the body that was found, but it's all kind of worked together as one story, dead company man, found close to the union thing, tensions rising, and then the complete disrespect of the union to protest that evening. The paper clearly has its side. Vivian.
Yes. Also, a newspaper costs about 20 cents.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry, 2 cents.
Yeah.
I thought 20
I'm
cents was a
being
little
very
high,
generous to the boy.
Learning all the things.
Dozen eggs, 47 cents. Round
Uh,
steak, 40 cents. 3 pounds of macaroni, 25 cents.
This reminds me of the Russian badge thing of round meal.
Oh yeah.
uh,
Feeds 3 men.
So anyway, so Vivian, you get up in the morning. You weren't necessarily out too late.
Yeah.
Unless you and Lilac were really tearing up the dance
They
floor.
both probably had work of some kind in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, you do beat Lilac up in the morning, though. Not by a whole lot, You're still piddling with breakfast when she's getting up.
Dang, what'd Lilac do?
Just beating her. It only takes one punch, really. She's nimble, so it might take a few times.
It may take several swings, but you only really got to connect the one time.
Yeah. No, she'll make up enough breakfast for the two of them. And then, unless she had arranged to go to the practice that morning, which it probably would have been the morning.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be too super early.
And she would go towards the office.
All right. So Salvador, you're at the office for a little while. Vivian shows up.
Yep.
Teak, you're working.
So lukewarm sandwich.
She would probably stop down there and get whatever kind of like breakfasty, or not breakfast, maybe not like a baked good and tea.
Give me all of your eggs. Yes, I said all of them.
All of your eggs, all of your bacon.
What
I
you
had them make me
heard
an English
is
muffin, and then I made them put an egg in it, and then I made them put a round of ham in it.
Hey, she's a nervous eater.
That's me in real life.
Sometimes you just gotta eat your feeling. And those feelings are anxiety.
Yep.
Me
Hooked on a
planning a wedding right
feeling.
now.
So you get in, you get settled with your food, you chit chat with Salvador for a minute, and the phone rings.
I'll get the phone.
I was just waiting to see.
I just imagine them both reaching for it. You can get it if you want, but she would definitely also be reaching for it as well.
Local beorn, how can we help you?
What was it? What was it you said? Jeremy?
Local beorn, how can we help you?
Yes, this is Larry Smith. We met yesterday.
Yes. How can I help you, Mr. Smith? Sorry, you liked Larry. Anyway, continue.
It's fine. I'm sure you heard that there was a bit of a scuffle last night.
Yes.
Well, one of the guys said some of the security staff drug one of the union men off.
Give a description of the dragger.
Yeah, he gives you a description. Two guys. Now he didn't say these himself. He's repeating the description.
Sure. Secondhand is still a better description than we have so far.
But anyway, they were dragging him out, talking about well, the person that told me couldn't tell me for sure what they were saying. We found him. He was a little roughed up. Apparently, the way he talked to two of the guys, one of their friends got hurt last night.
They were trying to get a lick back?
Yeah, it looks like that. Nothing life-threatening. But when he was, when they walked off, he said he saw something move in the water.
Oh, that's lovely. Concerning.
He didn't get a good view of it. It was something kind of slipping back into the water. He's not sure how long it was. There was definitely a fin he saw. But
alrighty,
we thought we should let you know just as soon as possible.
Appreciate it. You said a fin. A fin will help us out here.
Yeah, he described it. This guy probably knows more about fish than me, but not like the big fin to tail necessarily. That wasn't what he saw, but like like a little side something.
This was one of the people from the fish runners or whatever they're called.
The
longshores.
Longshoremen.
Yeah.
I don't know where.
Yeah, this was after this is after he'd taken a couple of he'd taken several punches with this point, but
of course. But I mean, that's a hazy recollection is better than what we have so far, which is nothing.
Yep.
What do you think it could have been?
Any number of things. Like, could be a particularly long, somewhat sentient eel. I don't know.
Is that a thing? Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
It could be. I don't know.
But we've got him Gregory at the office now. If you'd like to speak to him.
Yeah, we can. I'll gather the group around. We can go over. There's not a dead body this time, right?
No.
Okay, good.
You probably don't have to call the cops.
I was a little nervous about having the cops over there the other day, but what's done is done.
Yeah. Well, even from Anderson's point of view on this one, if the guy doesn't want to press charges, you wouldn't have to call the cops.
Yeah,
necessarily.
We will we'll call.
The call goes out.
Call the group around. Yes, the call goes out.
So the call goes out.
I'm letting him know that the call is going to go out.
So 45 minutes or so later, y'all can all be pulling up to the
location.
Yes.
Yeah. Leo can close his shop.
9:45.
And when we get
he couldn't be able to get away.
Nope.
Well, except that your boss runs in this part of town. So if he knows you're heroing on the side, what kind of a relationship does Tick have with his boss?
I'd say it'd probably be like professional, but cordial. I don't know if they'd consider each other like best friends or anything like that, but they'd at least be friends, friendly to each other.
Probably at least reads the newspaper and knows what Teek's involved with.
Yeah. Is he a human or is he strange folk?
I think you told me he was human.
Okay. Yeah, that does sound familiar. But if he's living in this part of town, He knows the lay of the land.
And the one thing I wanted to say is, when we kind of gather up my research that I found, where I found there was obviously something magic in the water.
Oh, this is when you looked
Hide
into
that.
that. Okay.
Yes, because this is, since my research, this is the first time I've run into them. So,
All right. So y'all get to the harbor. Gregory, he's feeling better now. He's bruised. You medical guys can give him just a quick looking over. Yeah. He's been punched a few times. Nothing. He got a black eye.
He'll make it.
He's up and walking around. He's just. But he tells you about, they snatched me, and, he's almost not all that interested in retelling the fight. Yeah. They beat me up. That crap happens. But
anyway, this fish thing.
Yeah, this thing I saw in the water.
Yes,
and he talks about how he saw the his vision was a little blurry at the time. Fair enough. And he thinks there was a little fin, like a fish or an eel or something would have, but he didn't get a clear enough view of it to see if it, if it was some little something on the side of the thing. He's also not exactly sure how far out in the water it was, so he can't give you an actual super good estimate of its size.
Just a basic description is, again, Salvador is very crudely sketching it.
Yeah.
Well, he really just saw where, a little, it was like part of it was blowing up out of the water.
It was like coming up. Yeah, that's still more than we have.
But he takes you down to the, to the edge where it happened. And down there's this little makeshift sort of dock. Like, made out of scrap pallet wood. It is not for, this is just something somebody can walk out on the water. And he's like, some of the guys use this to fish off of. But he go, he go, he kind of points out, it's around there that I saw it. And right here the water's kind of shallow because the stuff's kind of built up. He goes, but it gets deep, not too much further out there.
Okay. Well, I can't promise we're going to investigate it right now, but, we have to take certain preparations. I'm just glad that everybody's okay. At least this time.
I'm gonna...
Go ahead, Patrick.
Considering what I just learned, I'm gonna go ahead and spin the PowerPoint and try to detect magic on it. At least in this area.
Okay. Give me a roll.
I'm gonna see if I can do aura detection myself.
Okay, give me a roll. And then we will wrap this up in just a minute or two.
Ooh,
nope.
Anderson, don't detect
buddy.
crap.
Hell, kinda sad I don't get to mark this one. It was a 9.
Very nice. All right, so you turn that on. Let's see, how many of y'all are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The PowerPoint.
Not that I'm picking a victim randomly or anything.
What'd you ask?
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So all this is going on.
Vivian is the shortest one if you need a short person.
Oh, the shortest one would be Teak.
Yep.
Oh, shoot. No, yeah.
Teak is the tiniest one.
Teak does have the bigger personality, though.
Salvador, something grabs you by the ankle. You hear a slight,
shit.
movement in the water, and something grabs you by the ankle. Patrick, this is happening just as Leo's finishing the spell. And your senses are like, look over there behind you. And you spin around to look in Salvador's direction.
It's like fumbling to try to get his gun instinctually, even though it's
And
not
that's
doing
where we're
anything.
And that's where we're cutting for the evening.
I was about to ask if Teak spotted it.
No, that's
Per usual, one of Deca's characters will be in peril till next week.
That tracks.
Yeah.
But this one is not Deca's fault.
Is it?
You
There's
know, as
we have
opposed to
that
the I'll
great
catch the
moment
grenade
of
and scene.
What are you gonna do? I'm gonna go
Mhm.
punch that werewolf.
And I did punch him.
You
He
did.
did, and he did catch the grenade. Yeah.
yeah. As soon as the hand comes out of the water, grabs Salvador, we hear that, and like the "We'll be right back" pops up on there.
But anyway, I hope y'all had fun. I was enjoying it. Hope anybody that comes by and watches this later, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll join us. Hope you'll join us next week. Again, I was your storyteller for the evening, Jason. And with me has been Sarah playing Vivian, Carr playing Teak, Eric playing Michael, Duba playing George, Rappy playing Charlie, Patrick playing Leo, and Jeremy playing Salvador. And we will see y'all next time.
Good night, everybody.
So tread with care and heed the sign. Abomination, Ali's line. For in the night the shadows grow and take with them your troubled soul.